All right, welcome back. In this lesson 1.1.2, we are going to continue talking about systems fundamentals and we're going to focus on change management. So, the objectives for this lesson are at the end, you should be able to identify factors that are involved in change management, justify the need for change management, and investigate and outline success factors. So, the need for change management. So, change management involves different components, and it's really all of the activities that go on when an organization, in particular, is changing to a new system. Okay, so it could involve shifting people, so maybe hiring new people, changing teams, changing people's job categories. It can involve new departments, dismantling some departments. So a lot of shifting of the people within the organization. The main objective of change management is to make sure that all of the stakeholders, remember, stakeholders or anyone in a situation that has something to gain or lose, anybody who's affected, either negatively or positively, to make sure that they are accepting and embracing the change, that they have no type of ill feelings toward the change, and that they feel comfortable. Okay, and so at the end of the day, we want to maximize the benefits of this change that's taking place, right, and minimize any negative impacts on our stakeholders and on our organization. All right, so what I want you to do now is I want you to pause your video and just think about what types of change management activities will we need to implement if our school was moving from all PCs to all Macs. Okay, so pause your video and then come back to finish the lesson. All right, so these are some of the things that you should have written down. So, if we were changing from PCs to Macs, we would definitely need to train our stakeholders. Some people have never worked on a Mac computer before. Some people have, but don't have a lot of experience. So they would definitely need to be trained on the differences between a Mac and a PC and all of the features. We would need to explain to them, okay, so why are we moving from PCs to Macs? Is it going to make our job easier? Are we going to have more features to work with? Is it a better machine? How is this going to affect us? And why is this change even being made? People need to be informed and have all the information, and not feel blindsided. And then obviously communicate the benefits, right? Why is this better than what we had? Why are we going through a change process? Um, like, how is this going to benefit me in particular in my job? And we want to communicate all those things to our stakeholders again, and the goal is to make sure that they feel comfortable. And then we also want to communicate the time frame. So how long is it going to take for this transition to take place? Is it going to be a month, a year? Are some people going to transition while others still are working on the old PCs? We want to make sure we communicate the schedule, so people can plan ahead, and they can mentally prepare themselves. And then ease their minds, right? So again, go back to communicating those benefits, explaining why we're making the change. Just be as transparent as possible about the whole process, and that usually helps to ease people's minds. All right. So, next objective 1.12 is very short. 1.13 is all about compatibility. We're going to focus on talking about something called legacy systems and also talk about business mergers. So, after this lesson, you should be able to describe the importance of compatibility, identify the way legacy systems interact with modern systems, suggest strategies for successful integration during business mergers, and identify the international dimension of software compatibility. So, a legacy system is old technology, right? It could be hardware, so old computers, old servers. It can be software programs, anything that's old that has not been updated. And legacy systems have their place in an organization, and we'll soon find out why. So, again, some legacy systems are very important. For example, when I worked at the VA hospital, they had a lot of legacy systems, programs that they had implemented from early 90s, early 80s. They were text based, there was no interface, everything was text command, very old, but they function. And because of the nature of the way their system was built, it was not feasible to bring in a new system because it wasn't compatible with all the other systems that the VA was using. So that is a very prime example of when something is very old, but we really can't get rid of it because the cons outweigh the pros in getting a new system. Okay, sometimes if the system is not old, the data can't be transferred or it can't be converted. Um, or to do that, it takes too much time or too much money. So companies have to again outweigh the pros and cons and decide if it makes sense to transition from our legacy system to something that's more updated. And sometimes programs can't be upgraded, right? And in order to upgrade them, you literally have to um, bring in something new. So when you're implementing new systems, we need to consider the transfer of data, right? And we need to consider these legacy systems and to make sure that the data that's coming in and data that we have, they're going to be able to merge and they're going to be able to interface with the legacy system. Okay, business mergers. So a business merger is when two or more businesses or entities combine, right? So here's an example of one that was pretty recent. Dr. Pepper, which is a soft drink company primarily, they make some other soft drinks as well, and Keurig, which focuses on coffee, they merged together. So now they are Keurig Dr. Pepper, right? Um, the businesses are sort of similar. They make foods, drinks. Um, but for whatever reason they combined, they merged, and so businesses do that for different reasons. The main one, we're going to talk about that later, is cost. Okay, so again, Dr. Pepper, Snapple was the first entity, merged with Keurig Green Mountain, and now it's Keurig Dr. Pepper. Okay, so I want you to pause the video to go ahead and rapidly research some famous business mergers. On your guided notes, you have a section where you need to put in some recent mergers and just get to know some of the companies that have combined. So pause your video and then I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so why do businesses merge? Businesses merge to reduce costs primarily. There's some economic benefit for them coming together. Maybe they share the same market space or the same industry, and instead of being a competitor, they want to now be partners. So usually it is cost, um, primarily, either to reduce costs or make more money. Okay. And then when businesses merge, there are four main types of strategies that allow them to integrate their systems. Okay. The first one, which is a lot more expensive, is to keep both systems. So, for example, Dr. Pepper and Keurig Green Mountain, they have two totally different computer systems, and they want to keep both of them. They don't want their employees to have to learn a new one. They want to just keep it how it is. And that has its pros and cons. You don't have to retrain people. The people that were working on one side will continue working on that side, and they won't have to learn anything new. But it is a higher cost because you have to maintain two completely different and autonomous systems. Okay. Second strategy is to replace both systems and install a new one. It does cost more initially, but in the long run, it's actually cheaper. And it's usually better for the company because everybody's on one cohesive system. Everyone's learning something new and starting from the same page. So if the merger was expensive and they don't have the money, extra money to implement a new system, then they may want to find something different. But it is a better option in the long run. And then sometimes they choose the best parts of each system. So maybe Dr. Pepper's HR system is really good, and Keurig's customer relationship system is really good. And they take the best parts and they somehow combine them, keeping in mind, about being able to migrate things and being able to integrate and interface different parts of the software. As long as they are compatible, some companies do choose to do that. And then finally, sometimes they just pick one of the company's system, right? And they run with that. The biggest issue with that strategy is that now the other company and its employees, right, now have to learn something new, and the policies and the processes may not align with that system, right? So there's things that have to be considered. Is it a good fit for both?